pins and patches, stories grow, stitching secrets we all know. Patchwork of laughter sewn in time, a spool of joy on every line. We chat, we sew, we laugh, we thrive. Stephen and Walter, our life. Sewing tales with every square, buttons falling everywhere. A crooked seam, but who will care? Iron presses lined so neat, friendships quilt can't be beat. Patchwork of laughter sewn in time, a spool of joy on every line. We chat, we sew, we laugh, we thrive. Stephen and Walter, our life. Sewing tales with every square, buttons falling everywhere. A crooked seam, but who will care? Iron presses lined so neat, friendships quilt can't be beat. Patchwork of laughter sewn in time, a spool of joy on every line. We chat, we sew, we laugh, we thrive. Stephen and Walter, our life. Our life.
Stitch by stitch they weave the tale, a patchwork life where laughs prevail. Patterns clash, but who can tell? Quilted chaos suits us well. Stephen and Walter live on air, threading humor they don't care. Teaching, chatting, pulling strings, life's a quilt of funny things. Pins and needles, jokes abound, sewing secrets they have found. Fabric flying all around, it's a show where joy is bound. Stephen and Walter live on air, threading humor they don't care. Teaching, chatting, pulling strings, life's a quilt of funny things. Pins and needles, jokes abound, sewing secrets they have found. Fabric flying all around, it's a show where joy is bound. Stephen and Walter live on air, threading humor they don't care. Teaching, chatting, pulling strings, life's a quilt of funny things. Pins and needles, jokes abound, sewing secrets they have found. Fabric flying all around, it's a show where joy is bound. Pins and needles, jokes abound, sewing secrets they have found. Fabric flying all around.
Hello, everybody, and welcome. And I hope everybody can see us and hear us today without any problem. I've been checking on the monitor, and it seems to be okay. If you remember last week, we had a little bit of a problem. What are you touching me for?
Oh,
Don't touch me.
Never mind.
Ew. You're touching me. You're touching me. I'm telling Mommy.
Oh, God.
Okay. All right, that get me right off track now, didn't you? So let's see who is here. And welcome. Yep, everything's working fine. Okay, good to know. All right, let us check who was number one. It was Nina.
It's still. Oh, no, I thought I saw it flashing. Oh, well, never mind.
You're a real pain in the ass today, aren't you? You go to your room, no supper. Jeez. Try to get
I
help.
don't know. Must be my eyes blinking. I don't know.
Must be your brain blinking. I don't know. Okay, let's get back to who's here. Nina is here, and Charlotte is here, and Judy is here. And we have Inez, and we have Caroline, and we have Dubrovka, and Al, of course. It's raining up where they are, and it's been raining here today, too,
Yeah,
off and on.
Miserable.
Yeah. And Susan says, hi, Stephen and Walter, everyone joining you. Very much looking forward to hearing all your news and thoughts. Sending best wishes from a lovely warm evening here in Devon, UK. Okay, in the UK. And Judy is here, the other Judy, but she retracted her message. Okay. Mary is here from sunny Virginia, so no rain in Virginia, I guess. Glenna is here from beautiful O'Fallon, Missouri. Gloria is here, and Karen B, and Linda from Ontario, and oops, I skipped up. Where'd it go? It just bounced on me. I said Karen. Linda, yeah, I saw that, Linda. Karen Lyles is here. Howdy from Vancouver, USA. Congratulations on your smart and competent. And Busy is here from New Brunswick. And, oh, Karen's message carries on. Head of State, Narc Carney. Think you mean Mark.
And he is Prime Minister.
Oh, so. And she does know, yeah. We don't call him head of state. He's a prime minister, yeah. But, oh, there, she's got Mark now. Having no problem with the fingers today. Quilter 7939 is here. Howdy, SNW. Oh, meaning us, okay. Sandra is here from Texas. And Busy says, see and hear you well. Okay. Sooner Fleet is here. And Barb Olson is here. And Suzanne is here as well. Arta is here from San Diego. She says no problems there, so that's good. Sherry is here as well. And Squeaky Geek. I don't know if we've seen Squeaky Geek before, but 2 hands up there. Welcome, Squeaky Geek. Deborah is here from Amherstburg, Ontario. And Judy says, good afternoon, Stephen and Walter from rainy Stony Creek, Hamilton. And Chris says, happy Sunday afternoon. Suzanne's, good afternoon, everyone from rainy Kirkland Lake.
Jesus, raining all over the place.
Everybody's getting rain, yeah. Yeah, of course, it's probably rained in all the places where there aren't any forest fires, which is the need, yeah. Oh, Squeaky Geek is from Los Angeles. Okay, and Shadow Wind is here, and Pat Wainwright. Stephen and Walter plus other quilters. Nobody gets my name right. It's not that hard. I'm Stephen with a V.
Even our local quilt shop had a problem.
Oh, yeah. It spelt my name really weird when I took my embroidery machine the other day.
Yeah, it was like Step Hand.
Yeah, Stephan.
And it's somebody that knows us really well, so.
It's when you know that.
And she wasn't even using electronics.
No.
And she was writing it down by her hand.
Yeah.
So
runs with
autocorrect.
Oh, Melissa is here. Busy says, rain here in New Brunswick. We desperately need it.
Yeah, we could kind of use it.
We could use a little bit of it too. Yeah. So, yeah. I mean, yeah, we need it. Okay. Well, I'm sure a few other people will be joining us in because today is going to be, first part is going to be light. Second part, not so light. And I gave you an indication of that on the short that I put up earlier this morning and also in the title. You poked the bear. And we'll talk about the significance of that in a bit. But first, let's look at pleasant things, shall we? I got a couple of projects done. Well, actually, yeah, they're done. Let me get them pictures up here. Here we go. So this one you've seen in bits and pieces before, and I showed you the final product on So Chatty again, but we're just reviewing it here. This is the my In the Hoop applique Christmas table runner. And yeah, it turned out okay. It's not a set design. It's the blocks were all ones that I picked up at kind of at random on, I think it was OESD, OESD, yeah, and put together. So yeah, it turned out okay. And I'm very happy with this. This was an In the Hoop project. It is a book bag. Now, I've had the panels for this done for a couple of months, and it's been sitting in a corner. And for some reason yesterday, I decided yesterday morning to dig it out and sew it all together, and it's lined and everything like that. Some of the blocks, if you look at it really closely at the top, didn't line up perfectly. And I did rip it out several times. In fact, I had the front of the bag and the back of the bag, which both look exactly the same, all together, with the exception of the side seams. And I looked down and realized, oh, I put some of the books in the wrong order. And I debated whether it was important enough to rip it out, but then I saw the top part with the flowers, and they were definitely not matching up. So I thought, yep. So I ripped it all out and put it all together again. But I couldn't, for the life of me, get those flower petals and stems on every one of the flowers to line up. I tried several times. They just would not do it. And the reason for that, well, I'll talk about that on the quilter.
Is it because you didn't join the bottom two panels properly?
What do you mean?
The bottom two panels, were they all joined already?
You mean the books?
Yeah.
No. Well, the first time I didn't join them in the right order. I had the one that was supposed to be on one side, the other around that. There's actually more. There's 4 panels in that.
Oh, okay. I didn't
because the 2 books on the ends are a separate panel.
Oh, I see.
As well. And then there's 2 panels for the flowers at the top and 2 panels for the bookshelf below. But I have a theory as to why this didn't quite perfectly line up. But I'm going to save that for on the Idiot Quilter to talk about that in more detail. But that happens with these kind of projects sometimes. And there are several factors for that. But you know, if you're giving it to somebody, which I am, this is going to be for my hairdresser, for our hairdresser at Christmas, because she's a great book reader. And I thought, well, you know, book bag might be nice. And she seems to like getting tote bags. So
yeah, and does she do electronic reading, or does she do?
Doesn't matter. She'll put other shit in it. You know, when she goes on her weekends, probably clean undies and a bra. I don't know, something like that. Moisturizer. It's a moisturizer bag. That's what I should tell her. Because according to the conversation I had with her the other day, she's got a lot of creams and lotions for a lot of things. So yeah, whatever. It's a gift. Actually, I think she still reads paper books. Because I've heard her say, but I don't know if she's got an electronic reading or if she reads off her phone. I'm not sure. But anyways, that's where it's going to go. And she won't notice. I'm not going to point it out. And if she does, well, it's a gift. You never point out these things when you get it as a gift. You say, thank you very much, and be appreciative.
Did you center those handles properly?
Yeah, the bag is on an angle, the way it was hanging up.
Okay, all right.
Why don't you just, they're 4.5 inches from each side. That it's totally.
All right, okay.
Jeez. Wow. You know how I spell bitch? Walter. Who pissed in your cornflakes? Jesus. Okay, so, where does that take us? So, do you have anything to show?
No, I'm still working on the shirt. I've been procrastinating. I pulled my machine finally out of my bag from last week. So.
Oh, well, that took you long enough. What have you been doing this week? I'm sure you have an excuse.
Procrastinating.
Yeah, true. Let's see what people are saying here. If anybody else new came in, let's see. Lucy's here from Oxford. Oxford, Stephen and Walter walk chicken.
No rain
here. Is that the name of the place that you live in Oxford? Walk chicken. There's a name. Never seen a name like that before. Let's see.
Unless that's a saying of some sort. I don't know.
Maybe. I don't know. I'm lost. Lucy, you'll have to fill us in. What is a walk chicken? Barb says, good evening, everyone, from NR London. Lovely.
Near London?
Oh, maybe near London. Okay, lovely warm day again, but nights are starting to draw in again. Yeah, I know. It's coming to the end of August. We're moving towards the fall soon. Karen says, sometimes my hot little fingers cause letters to register before I hit enter. No, you're just so excited, eh? Pat writes, sorry, Steven. Okay, now. Oh, do I detect sarcasm? Oh. You'd never catch me being sarcastic. I'm not ever sarcastic. Yeah, okay, Pat. I have to make that point. I'll tell you why, and I've told you this before. And it's usually women. And on here, they get upset if I spell their name incorrectly. And I get told. And yet the number of times that I have had people spell my name with a PH, and I tell them it's a V. That's why I say it. That's why I say it, just to give them back some of their own medicine. You know?
Yeah, it's just like this woman I used to work with. I told you about her a long time ago. Her last name's Shevcheska. And she used to always complain if somebody spelt it wrong.
I tell her.
And it started with P-R-Y-Z.
Huh? P-R-Y. Oh, okay. Don't know how you say that.
I can't remember exactly how to spell it. And then, you know what? She had the nerve to spell my name wrong.
Yeah, well, you see, yeah, there's my point. There's my point. You know, like, okay, I mean, I've had people spell my name with a PH before. There's various reasons why people do that. You know, they had someone in their family, that's how they spelt their name or whatever, or they knew a step hen, and, you know, that's how they spell it. But that's okay. And I used to let it go, unless it was on a form or something like that, you know, something official, because, you know. But then when I started getting people telling me that I'm spelling their name wrong on YouTube and stuff like that, I thought, okay, tit for tat. Yeah, you spell it wrong, I'm going to tell you. So let that be a lesson, everybody out there. V. V for victory. I am not a step hen. Although maybe I'm a walk chicken. I'm not sure. Maybe that's what she means. Maybe that's where that was going. Anyways. Busy says it's pretty. And Inez says, it rained here twice last week, once for 3 days and once for 4 days or nights. I don't know. It sounds almost biblical. And everybody's liking the stuff. I guess it's either the bag or the Christmas runner, whichever. Karen likes my bag. Very attractive. I've been told. CJ Lenton is here. Hello, made it again. Love the book bag. Nice that you were able to make it again. And thank you for the compliment. Thank you, Gloria. And it says, like how the bottom looks like legs. Yeah, it's supposed to be the shelf, I guess. Elizabeth is here. Hey guys, the sun has made an appearance in Barrie. It never rains in Barrie, does it? Charlotte likes the bag. Hello, everyone. Bronca says, sending hugs from New Jersey. And Faith is here. Hi, Faith. Pat says, love the bag with all the embroidery. Thank you, Pat. Ooh, everything bounced up again. Yeah, where am I? Lose my place.
Goes bag. Play nice, boys.
Play nice, boys. That is us playing nice, Barb. You ought to see when we don't. Jeannie's here. Hi, Jeannie. Busy says, I find it hard to get the MV to sew in the summer. Not sure why. MV to sew. Okay, I think she's talking about she doesn't get the energy to sew in the summer or whatnot. Well, you know, sewing is definitely an indoor activity for the most part. And when the weather's nice out, and especially if you live in Canada, we don't get, you know, long summers. Or if you're in the northern part of the northern hemisphere, you don't get them that long. So, you know, sometimes you don't want to basically be indoors. So yeah, winter, and I don't know, when you're, at least if you're quilting in that too, in the fall, the winter, when it's cooler outside, it's kind of cozy to, layers of fabric and all that kind of stuff. Bag looks beautiful, Dubrovka says, and I'm sure Walter's grass looks beautiful too. Are you growing marijuana?
No.
Oh, okay. Your grass? Oh,
No.
you're outside?
Yeah, I don't know. The grass doesn't look that great. I need to get it.
Yeah, maybe. Oh, I see there. Lucy says, walk, chicken, step hen. Yeah. Oh, okay. You're subtle, Lucy. You're very subtle. Cheryl's here. Hi, Cheryl. Karen says, love sarcasm and get healthy dose every Sunday. Yep. Sarcasm's my middle name. Quilter 793 says, always blaming the women. Well, who else are you going to blame? I can't blame the men. I'd be doing dirt to my own sex. So, only two sexes. No, I guess there's not. There's something. There's more, apparently. Squeaky Geek says, people spell my name wrong too. It's not Squeaky. Oh, I see what, EA and Squeaky. I don't know what way. If you told me just said that and I spell, I'm not sure which way I would have spelled it. I think I would have spelled it with an A, but I'm not sure. Jackie's here. Hi, Jackie. Faith wants to know how the barbecue is. Well, we're coming to that, Faith. Elizabeth says, the rain was coming down in torrents. Glad to see the sun, but our gardens and lawns need a good natural drink. Yeah. Throw vodka on your lawn. See how it is. Okay, so that's caught up on everybody. So sewing with me on Wednesdays as usual. Links in the show notes. But pop-up sew day. This coming Saturday, August the 29th, 8 a.m. The doors open, the virtual doors, but you come and go as you please. You don't have to be there at 8 o'clock. Whatever time suits your schedule, and stay for as long or short a time as it works into your schedule, and work on whatever you want to work on and have a good time. So I hope to see many people there. And if you've been keeping up on the videos, on Monday, we have Monday Morning Coffee with Steven. I talked about pickled jalapenos and bye peppers. And by peppers, I meant two color. We had Walter picked one of our peppers, and it was what?
Yellow. It was yellow on one side and green on the other.
Yeah, it was probably transitioning.
Yeah.
It's a bye pepper, and it was transitioning. There's a joke in there. Oh, I'm clever.
It's a trans pepper, then.
It's a trans pepper, yeah. But whatever. So, yeah, and actually I did a little thing about peppers that I discovered. You can find anything on the internet, and I learned some things about peppers I did not know, and I shared that with everybody on Monday. On Tuesday, I showed you, yes, more Christmas fabric, because Ultimate Sewing, my local quilt store, got their fabric out, and they had some stuff I had never seen before, so I had to buy it, and I did. So I added to the collection, and I shared that with all of you. And on So Chatty, we did red snappers. That was generated by, is Adam on here? I haven't seen him. Maybe he doesn't like me anymore. Maybe he thought I was making fun of him, and I wasn't. I got the idea because Adam was telling me about a problem he had with red snappers. He always pins his quilts to his long arm, and he got the red snappers after he had an unfortunate stabbing incident with the long pins, which would hurt for sure. And he didn't know whether he got inferior ones or whatnot, and they were letting go.
Yeah,
of his
I guess
quilt.
He was having trouble with it, and it was letting go. And so he was trying to find out, first of all, whether he had accidentally bought knockoff ones, like the ones that weren't actual authentic red snappers, because he bought them on Amazon. And then he contacted, I guess, the maker of them, and somehow confirmed that they were actually authentic.
Well, the supplier to Amazon, the seller.
Yeah. The seller, but I thought he contacted the manufacturer of them. I don't know.
I didn't think he contacted the manufacturer.
Anyway, he was trying to get some support from them.
And he got nothing.
Yeah, and they weren't giving him any support. So, I don't know if he was using them correctly, or he said he followed the directions.
Well, Yeah, and I mean, Adam's no amateur, right?
No,
And I hope Adam didn't think that we were suggesting
no.
otherwise, because we certainly were not. But it got us thinking, like, a lot of people maybe don't know how to use the red snappers. I know some people don't like to use the red snappers because for various reasons, and we went over that on So Chatty for that. So we did the a videos just showing how we use them, because I have never really had a problem with the red snappers.
However, when we were
Yeah,
loading the quilt, I didn't push down hard enough on them in one spot,
and
and they did let go.
it did let go. Yeah, on that. So, and we talked about that and showed that too. So, but by no means were we criticizing Adam. Far from it. Not at all. Because I know Adam knows what he is doing with these things. I mean, yeah, he knows a lot more about it than I do. So, but
So far, they work for us.
they work for us, yeah.
And yeah.
So, but I sound like one of those people that when I say, well, I got this and it didn't work and that, and then somebody goes, I've never had a problem. Then you find out down the road, yeah, they have had a problem, but they just didn't admit to it. So I didn't want it to sound like one of those. I'm going to use.
But anyway, I
What?
thought it was sort of an idea. I sort of came up with that. I thought an idea that we could show these because people talk about red snappers, and a lot of people don't know what red
What they
snappers
are, yeah. So, and there's other ways to attach a quilt, and we talked about that too. But I use the red snappers. But anyways, so let's see here. Oh, Lucy says I got your joke. Okay. Julia is here from Indiana. Hi, Julia. Lucy says perhaps they don't like fish, red snappers. Lucy's on a roll today. Are you having a cocktail, Lucy? A little gin and tonic, We know how you British love your gin and tonics over there or whatever. She's just a scream today. And that's okay. We don't mind it at all. Like a little humor, because it's not going to be funny in a bit. So, okay. So anyways, that's what's been going on, what's coming up and everything like that. Had the question was asked, let's see. Well, first of all, we have made arrangements for the hot tub to go bye-bye. We had a farewell dip in it the other day. Walter was teary-eyed. You thought we were losing an animal or something, or a pet, but it's got to go. So they're coming on September the 9th. Meanwhile, my brother-in-law is supposed to come over before then and disconnect the hot tub from the big wire because it's 220 volts, and he put in an industrial strength cable to it, because that's what my brother-in-law does for a living, kind of a thing. So, I mean,
But actually, I looked at her next door neighbor's cable, and it's pretty big.
Is
too.
it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I remember John saying at the
Next door
time.
neighbor has a hot tub too.
Yeah. So, yeah, we'll just, when they're not home, we'll go use theirs.
Yeah.
So that's coming up. Tomorrow, I go to the dentist tomorrow morning to have my teeth cleaned. My every 4-month visit. Now, if you remember, the last time I went to the dentist, I had a bit of a traumatic experience. And as it is, I hate going to the dentist to start with. I have ever since I was a kid. And I'm filled with dread and apprehension with all of this. I mean, it's just a cleaning.
Yeah, I'm not fond of it either.
But I just, no. And I don't know. And I've been thinking it was by their suggestion that because my insurance would cover it. Well,
yeah, well, they keep trying to get me to come more often, and I keep saying no.
Yeah. And
I should actually. I've been nasty enough to say, why do you want me to change dentists?
well, I've been really seriously thinking, okay, they put me on this 4-month schedule. And here is the reason I was given. It wasn't because like, oh, well, you should because of, your oral health or something. No, well, you can because you're covered for that amount. It's by units or something. And you have all these many units you can have in a physical year kind of a thing. Well, yeah, well, we're still paying for it.
I mean, the insurance covers most of it. But we still have to pay about 15%.
Yeah, we have to pay 15% of it. But I mean, we're still paying into the premiums though every month for it. So it's not like we're getting a freebie here, and all of that. And I mean, I used to go once a year when I was working. That's all my insurance through my employer covered.
I think you went 9 months.
I started, if you'd let me finish the goddamn shit. I went, now I'm off track. You do this all the time to me. And then you giggle. When I first started working, our insurance that were with my employer allowed me to have a checkup and a cleaning once in a 12-month period. Then the insurance changed several years later where it was every 9 months. But now with the insurance that I have, because of the way they do it with these units, I can go 3 times a year, like every 4th month or something like that. And that's what they recommended that I do. So I thought, well, I don't want to, but maybe it'll be less drama when I'm there. Like, in other words, like, well, so it'll be less buildup. I mean, I'm very conscientious about my teeth, and you've heard me say this before. I have a water pick. I floss 3 times a day. Water pick, floss, sometimes 4. And brush, like, all the time. And I'm thinking, well, maybe less time, because, you know, the less time you're in the chair at the dentist office, the better. No, I'm not noticing anything less. So I'm thinking tomorrow I'm in there, I'm going to say to the general hygienist, okay, I am thinking about doing this to every 6 months, because here's my theory about that. You take as much time to clean my teeth when I come in 3 times a year as it was when I was coming in at 9 months before. So what's the advantage? Now, I know what they're going to say. Well, you know, because you're getting older, then, you know, you want to stay on top of, you know, problems that you could have with your teeth. I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do. Probably nothing, because I just want to get the hell out of there as quick as possible. And I'm wondering, last time they had these 2 little cavities in my wisdom teeth back here that they wanted to fill, and they did. And then there was something somewhere else. Well, they're going to keep an eye on that. So I don't know. I mean, I've gone for years without cavities, and suddenly this is like...
You're getting old.
Yeah, just take them all out, I'll get dentures. Whatever. So, I don't know, but it gives me...
Dentures aren't cheap either.
And then they called me the other day to see if I could come in an hour later. I was scheduled for tomorrow at 9 a.m. because I don't like it ruining my whole day. So I like to get in there as first thing that I can. Actually, I used to go in right when they first opened, 8 o'clock. And then the last couple of visits, they've been scheduling me at 9. And
maybe they start later because the ownership has changed.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Maybe the dentist can't get up there.
Well, maybe. Well, it's not the dentist that does it. I never even see her most of the time. It's the hygienist. But whatever. Now, I do like this hygienist, this one. Because she's not in there going for a treasure hunt. And she's pleasant. The other one I had before her was pleasant enough, but I don't know what the hell she was in there. But when she put on her goggles and got out the jackhammer,
yeah, I know she's bad.
Yeah,
we go to the same dentist,
and she's the one that recommended.
Yeah, I know she's always trying to push you into something sooner.
So
I said, well, you know, if you don't do that properly, your teeth are gonna fall out.
Yeah, well, I can always get fake teeth, and you'll still be ugly. But whatever. I don't know. I don't really trust dentists, but here's the problem. I'm not a dentist, and I don't play one on TV. So I depend upon them for their professional guidance, right? But sometimes I did have it out with the dentist that owns the place on the phone. I wrote a complaint about the last drama I went, because that one, it wasn't her that worked on me. It was one of the other dentists she has in there, and they had a temporary dental assistant, and that dental assistant was trying to stick that damn tube way down to the back of my throat. Honey, you're not pumping my stomach. You're just there to suck up the shit that she's scraping out of here, kind of a thing. And she kept saying to me, are you okay? Okay, well, I'll just keep going. Yeah, I was not impressed at all. So I talked to the dentist about that. She was concerned that I had filed a complaint. Yeah, I did. So we'll see what happens tomorrow, but I'm not looking forward to it. See, anybody joined us while I was ranting away? Oh, Ruth's here. Hi, Ruth. Lucy says, no cocktails here. Yes, I'm waiting for your punchline in the second half of this live. Okay. Like the red snappers, Judy says, it made my fingers happy. Okay. That's good, because that's one of the complaints some people have, that if they've got arthritis in their hands, it's, they can't get the pressure on them. Lucy goes every 6 months for a checkup, and they suggest a clean once a year. I looked it up on the internet just to see what the recommendation is, and you know what the recommendation is? Minimum of 6 months, but more is better. Mm-hmm. Well, who wrote that? Mm-hmm. The Dental Association. Mm-hmm. And it says they're going to scrub the enamel off your teeth. Yeah. Bruce says, I spent 4 hours at the dentist last week. Implants are a long, expensive process, but it's my front teeth, so I'm dealing with it. Oh, yeah, the implants. They tried to talk Walter into an implant.
Yeah, because I have a few at the one side that are missing. But every time I went in there, it seemed to be, the estimate seemed to be bigger. And our dental plan doesn't cover any implants, so we'd have to be on the hook for the whole amount of money. And I just said, okay. They said, they said, you either get implants, you either get a denture, and then I said, or I do nothing. And they were going, well, that's not really an option. And I said, why isn't it? I said, well, my teeth fall out, or will they go crooked if I don't do that? No, but don't you want to have teeth there? And I said, well, I don't smile, so.
And it's far enough back anyways, you really can't see it.
I know. So the way I work, you can't really see it. And it doesn't annoy me that I have a couple of missing teeth. So.
Yeah. Let's see here. Busy says, clean every 6 months. That's enough for me, even though our insurance coverage is in units. Yeah, and ours is in units too. She was going on about these units, like 8 units or something, but I don't know what constitutes a unit, because you see the detailed invoice kind of a thing, and it talks about this was 2 units, this was half a unit. What's a unit? Well, what dictates a unit? I don't know. It's a mystery. I mean, also, I suppose I could turn around and say, okay, I need some explanations here. First of all, what's a unit? And I could ask other questions. But you kind of are intimidated by people in these professions, doctors and dentists and that, and you don't ask. I guess you need to ask, I guess. I'm wondering.
Oh, interesting. Chris Montour says it's just as expensive to take out. My body rejected the implant.
Oh, yeah?
Oh,
Whoa.
I haven't heard that.
No, that's a first there. I haven't heard that one.
Yeah. So you go to all that expense to do it, and then it doesn't work.
Yeah, Denise is here. Hi, Denise. Follow the money. Yeah, busy. You're right. Dubrovnik says every 6 months cleans enough. Our dentist told us that is safe way to go. Yeah, because I'm definitely thinking 6 months. Well, that's interesting though about it being rejected.
I have heard of other people where it wasn't done the right way or something with the implant, and it had to be redone.
Well, it's an operation.
Well, it's a long process, because what they have to do is they have to put a pin or something like that in the bone. If you don't have enough bone, then they have to graft the bone, which takes a while for that to take hold. And then they can put in the post. And then you have to wait for the post to heal before they can put the tooth on.
Okay.
So it's not like you can just go in and get it
No.
done. It takes a while to get done. So
Yeah. Lucy says, I think that bear has been well and truly poked by the hygienist. She's on a roll. Lucy's definitely on a roll today. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so here was Faith wanting to know about the barbecue we went to. Well, they weren't a pretty group. I've got to say
and they
that.
weren't particularly young neither.
No, it was,
More of a
old queen
mature
party.
party.
Yeah. There were ladies, and I'm using the term loosely, ladies at it as well. We ended up talking to this one couple sitting next to us who were not part of the LGBT community, but happened to be a relative of one of the guys hosting the party. And yeah, she was interesting to talk to.
She might end up at one of our so days.
Yeah, one of our so days, like one of Walter's group's so days, because she wants to basically learn how to sew a blouse or something like that. And speaking
and one of the hosts were talking about making a quilt, but I wasn't sure how to do that.
Yeah, and he wanted, I said, well, I can help you with it. Okay. Well, he wants to make a memory quilt. Well, of course, you know what I thought of immediately. T-shirt quilt. I went, oh God, no. I've never made a t-shirt quilt, and from what I've heard from some people that have done t-shirt quilts, they say it's a one-off. They didn't want to go through that hell again. And he said, no. So I don't know what he has in mind. He said,
Yeah.
I've got all the fabric for it.
Well, unless he's talking about all the stuff that his partner made for clothing, and he wants to put that in a quilt. I don't know.
I don't know.
It wouldn't be all quilting cotton.
He wasn't very forthcoming with the information.
Hmm.
Well, he was a little bit busy because people were coming in and he was a host. So, you have to do your host things when people come in.
Actually, he did sit down and talk to us for a bit. And he was, I haven't, the other guy, Mark, I've known from the sewing days, but I didn't really know his partner that well. And actually, the first time I've had any kind of discussion with his partner.
Yeah.
And
he's actually
kind of nice.
He was in the military. He's now retired from the military, and now he is getting his education to become a minister as well. So there were some ministerial types there. Well, actually retired ministers, about 3 of them that were sitting close to where we're talking. And so we're talking to them. And I said, oh, they were like past Anglican minister or something like this. I says, yeah, I'm a born again agnostic. And then I just stepped into it further. But they were very nice. They were very friendly, and they were funny too. They had some good jokes. Like after I made a joke about for the one guy that's still just about to finish up his courses and everything. And I said, so does that mean then when you graduate, you'll be able to walk on water? And he says, no. He says, that's an advanced course. And I said, well, what about turning water into wine? Because that would be a good trick. So they took it in stride, but they seem to be friendly bunch. I'm sure they've heard it all, with it. So, but anyway, so yeah, so going to help him make a quilt. It'll be interesting to see what it is that he wants. I don't know if he even knows how to use a sewing machine. So that could be a little iffy, but that's okay. I will plan for it, and then he won't show up at the next sew day. Watch for that. Yeah, and then what else? Well, they had lots of food. Well, people brought stuff.
They were asked to bring either a salad or a dessert, so they had lots of salads and desserts.
Yeah, and that. And they did smash burgers on the barbecue. But for those who don't eat meat, they did have a vegan alternative and salmon burger.
Salmon burger. And they had, what do you call it? Hot dogs, too.
Yeah, they were hot dogs. Hot dogs looked like they may have been just on the grill a little long. They were kind of like what you get at a 7-Eleven, rolling around forever kind of a deal. But actually, the hamburgers were very tasty.
Yeah.
I thought those were pretty good. And then they had, and then there was lots of desserts and there were snacks. around. We were good boys. We didn't really partake in the snacks.
No, actually, the snacks were too far away from me. So
Yeah. Well, that one lady that we were talking to that was there, that was the cousin, she had made this salmon dip and she was forcing it on me. And I said to her, "Oh, you got to try my dip. It's a salmon dip." And I went, "No, I don't."
it was all right.
But I finally tried some. It was okay. Had a bit of a fishy aftertaste to
That's
it.
because she used cheap salmon.
Yeah, I know. Well, so yeah, it was okay. It was okay, but I mean, I said to her, "I'm sorry, I just don't like fish."
Well,
So,
no, it would sort of remind me of a salmon salad sandwich without the sandwich. So
well, she did say it was canned salmon,
Yeah.
so yeah. But what else would you make a salmon dip
Yeah,
out
I
of?
don't
I don't
know.
know. Would you go out and buy yourself a whole smoked salmon and make it from that? I don't think so. That'd be an expensive dip.
I used to like salmon salad sandwiches, but I don't know. I got it last time I tried making one. I didn't really care for
Yeah.
it. So
So we heard lots of gossip and things like, which would mean nothing to you people, so we're not going to repeat it because you don't know the people involved. And it didn't rain on us. It looked like it
No.
was going to at one
it did
point.
rain later at night, but we
Yeah.
had come home by then.
Yeah,
So
we were gone. Yeah, a
we
lot
didn't
of
stay
us
a lot of people started clearing out,
around 5
or
so.
5 or 6. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we were home by 6. I think.
Yeah.
Or it was slightly
Well,
after.
I think we were there still at 6. We got home at about 6:30.
No, then it sounded like we left at the right time because they have an above ground pool there, and I think some people were getting tossed into it. And no, water touches me, I melt. Okay, so no, I don't do pools. Nope. And some of them shouldn't do pools either. If there were some outfits, yep, some real outfits. No, I didn't take any pictures. Okay.
No, I should have taken a couple of pictures. Actually, there were a couple of people that posted some pictures online. I could download them.
Well, yeah, but that's invasion of privacy,
Yeah.
possibly. So we don't want to do that. But anyways, but it was fun. It was nice to get out once a year to eat the tree. In fact, they had a Christmas tree. They had this huge artificial Christmas tree in their backyard that they used to put up on their front lawn, but it blew over something and they didn't put it. So they wired it up so it's in the backyard, and they got decorations on it, but their string of lights, I think, had burned out or something, they said. But
Yeah, no, it's because I think some animal got into the string of lights.
oh,
and
they
ate
think
it.
squirrels
Yeah.
ate through the wires. Yeah, squirrels do that, little buggers. So let's see.
There was a great big huge one because it was at the gay club.
Yeah.
Right, and it has a high ceiling in there, so it was a tall one.
Yeah, so they were going to put it in their living room, but their living room ceiling isn't high enough for it, so that's why it's outside. Lydia's here. Hi, Lydia. And Denise says they probably are trying to get you in to use up remaining benefits, whether you need it or not. Call insurance for explanation of a unit. Yeah, that's an idea. And Teresa's here. Hi, Teresa. Way back in my day as a dental assistant, a unit was 15 minutes. Your recall schedule is based on how much calculus tartar you had on, and whether you were prone to cavities. Now it seems your needs magically match your insurance. Yeah, I think you're right about that, Teresa. So anyways, not looking forward to that. So I made or tried to make yellow cucumber pickles. Yeah, apparently our cucumbers, we're not really sure about this, but our cucumbers are either turning yellow because they're overripe, or we actually have a variety that are yellow.
I also read that somewhere that it could be a fertilizer situation. But I've been fertilizing them, and that shouldn't be a problem.
So I'm thinking, okay, I looked up recipes for yellow cucumber pickles, and basically they're saying, well, okay, you've got to peel them because the skin is bitter. I did try one just with the skin on. It wasn't too bad. It was a little tough.
Yeah.
So, but I followed their instructions. You had to take them, and you had to peel them. Oh, and then you could cut them in chunks or in spears. I cut them in spears. Oh, and you had to de-seed them. pull out all the seeds in them. Then you were supposed to soak them in salt water. They told you what the the percentages of salt to water were supposed to be, and throw ice cubes in that with it, and let it sit for 24 hours in the fridge or wherever. I guess in the fridge. That's where I put them, in the fridge. And then you took them out, and you're supposed to rinse them thoroughly. Then you prepare your pickling spices, and I had bought pickling spices at the bulk barn, and I knew the proportions and everything. And you made your syrup, with the water, the sugar, the pickling spices. That I threw in a little turmeric, because they said that will give them a nice yellowish color, and that's okay to do. So I did that. And then you pack your jars and pour in your brine, and seal them up and let them sit, and the seal should go down. I'm not sure if that part of it was working, and I haven't tried them yet. They said, leave them before you try them, leave them in your fridge for 24 hours or longer, and that kind of thing. So here's what they look like. Not really appetizing. I guess I didn't pack them full enough, and I went online and looked to see if that was a problem. They said no, as long as they were covered at the top, if they floated, that was fine. There was a method to avoid them floating if you hadn't packed them hard enough. So later tonight, I am going to take the small jar, and I'm going to open it up, and I'm going to taste them.
Yeah, but isn't that the one that's sealed properly?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, the other one's sort of sealed too, but I'm not sure about it, and so I'm not going to. I have a feeling these are going in the garbage, along with my cucumber relish that I made, which would kill you. Just didn't work out well this year with that. And I know, before anybody tells me, you should use pickling cucumbers, and I know that. But I let well, first of all, we're still not sure what the heck type of cucumbers these are. So, because Walter got them from a seed bag, and he doesn't remember.
I have the seeds here. I'll have to dig out the seed bag. So
yeah. But anyways, it was an experiment. And this morning I picked a ton of jalapenos, and I washed them, and I put them in a Ziploc bag and put them in the freezer. And then some of them I took and I sliced up and put them in Tupperware containers and froze those for cooking. Plus I've got a bunch of hot chili peppers as well. I've got peppers coming out of my wing.
Yeah, well, that was because I just wanted one jalapeno pepper plant. And it came in a pack of 6. It didn't need 6.
No, we have them out. Well, they look nice. Now, the ones I've left on the vine out there were a little smaller, but I did read that they will turn red if you leave them out there long enough, sort of like a green pepper. So those ones I'm just going to leave and see what happens with them. And we still have lots of green peppers too. I haven't been picking those. I'm letting them, now a couple are turning orange, so that's okay. We'll eat those first. And the other ones, I'll see what happens, and I may leave some of those on to see if they will go red. And Lucy says, not much left after peeling and seeding a cucumber. No, there's not. There's not. And, it's kind of intensive work on that too. So, well, I'm always experimenting. So, we'll see. Yeah, but I'm anticipating these are going into compost. Yeah. So I'm still working on reorganizing my sewing area. I have 2 shelving units from IKEA. They're sitting in the back there that maybe someday will get put together. Hint.
Yeah.
Hint.
Okay, yeah, you need to do that.
Hint.
I keep forgetting we bought those.
Yeah, I know. Out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah, could have done that this afternoon.
And I've spent a lot of time printing these risers that are adjustable, and I showed those, I think, I'll be showing those on tomorrow's vlog in more detail. But my theory is I can put these underneath where my cutting board is. Actually, it's a huge piece of 3/4 inch plywood covered in canvas, which is my whole cutting area. It's big and has my cutting mat on top of it and everything and that. But it's also at the end of my sewing machine, and I'm thinking with these risers, I can raise the whole platform up and make it level with the extended table. And then when you've got something heavy, like you're binding a quilt, or if you were even to do some quilting using your walking foot, the weight of your quilt then will be distributed a little bit more evenly. It's not hanging over an edge. Plus, I already have another table off to the left side of my sewing machine that is level with that too. So that's my theory. We'll see. My calculations are I needed 22 of these, which meant I actually printed 44 because I needed 2, and then I had to glue them together to make them high enough, even with the adjustment on, but they didn't adjust high enough. So yeah, printer's been busy doing it. So we'll see. This may be come to naught, but we'll see with that. Always experimenting. Yeah. Okay, so that's what we've been up to. Let's see, catch up here. Let's see. Lucy says, Lucy says, make sure you label those hot chilies in the freezer. Already did. Yep.
Yeah, and yeah, we've been eating cucumber salads and stuff like that too. So
yeah, and Dubrovka says cucumbers are only good if sliced with skin on. I kind of agree with you, Dubrovka. I like them with the skin on.
I don't.
Well, there's always one. The green ones, though, not when, especially before they start to get overripe, that kind of thing. Well, it's always all about you. We've been slicing them up and peeling them and putting them in vinegar. Little vinegar and salt kind of a thing. That's always good. My mother used to do that years ago. I guess your mother did too.
Yeah.
Except I cut them too thick for Walter's liking. He likes them so you can see right through them. Yeah.
That's the way my mother made them.
That's the way your mother made them.
No.
Just like mother made them. Yeah. Just like the way mother made them. Okay, let's get to the serious topic today, people. First of all, we'll start off with this. One, if you are a Trump supporter, get the hell off my channel. I'm serious. Bye-bye. Don't come back. Bye-bye. With that. The other thing is, yeah, we're not going to say nice things about Americans. You might want to leave. Bye-bye. With that. Okay. I'm sure most of you know what's happened, but you've only heard it from your media, not from ours. And you've only heard it from the loudmouths that sit around and kiss and have their tongue way up Trump's ass. And they have lied left and right. Never been so proud as I am right now to be a Canadian with our Prime Minister. Our the American negotiation team, if you can call it a team, because they were very uncoordinated, basically thought we were going to be pushovers. And thus the reason for the title, Don't You Poked the Bear. You may not know where that expression comes from, but back in the Middle Ages, when they used to do bear baiting, they used to put a dog and a bear in a pen. The bear was chained up, and the dog basically went after the bear. And you bet on whether the bear would win or the dog would win. And there was blood, guts, and gore. Because these dogs were vicious. They ripped apart the bear. There was usually more than one dog. And the bear was chained up. And if the bear wasn't being vicious enough, they took sticks, long pointy sticks, and they would poke the bear to get the bear really riled up. Great entertainment. Yeah. But the expression has been known now, like, if you don't want any trouble, don't irritate the ones you don't want trouble from. And we as Canadians have a long fuse, but eventually it will go off. And to use another expression, which is an American one, we speak softly, but we carry a big stick. And the Trump administration has just found out about that. We are not pushovers at all. So here's what went down if you don't know it all or whatnot. We've been doing this, Trump decided. Yep. He was going to put this 50% tariffs on $28 million or billion dollars of trade or something. Everything from hockey sticks to who knows what was going to be tariffed because we're nasty. We're nasty Canadians and we're not doing what he wants us to do, which is basically roll over, put our asses in the air and let him slap the shit out of them. We don't like that, except at parties. Yeah, our negotiation team was down there. They've been trying to work out an equitable and fair deal for both sides. But apparently, the American Trump's team doesn't want that at all, which was not really a surprise to anybody living in this country, not a surprise to our prime minister.
In fact, I was worried at one point that they would accept a poor deal.
Yes, we were really, we love our prime minister. We think he's great under all the circumstances in here. But this would have been the one thing where I said to Walter, if he caves on some of these major things, he's lost my respect. And the whole country will go into depression, like emotional depression and that kind of stuff. Because we are putting a lot of faith in our federal government right now to do the right thing by us. Well, he didn't let us down. They went to the 11th hour. And then suddenly, when they thought they were coming close to an equitable deal, they threw in 3 other or something demands, which we cannot live with. So if I throw up here for you, and this is what the news media is reporting on. A last-ditch effort to reach a new trade deal before a midnight tariff deadline failed Friday as Prime Minister Mark Carney suspended talks with the United States and summoned his negotiators back to Ottawa. The decision meant new 50% tariffs on billions of dollars in Canadian exports to the U.S. took effect at 12:01 a.m., and Carney vowed Canada would retaliate with equal measures of its own. In recent weeks, we made important progress toward improving Canada's position as having the best deal in the world with the U.S., Carney said in a statement just before Trump's tariff deadline. However, that progress has not been enough to meet our objectives for Canadians. Canada-U.S. Trade Minister Dominic LeBlanc and Chief Negotiator Janice Charette have been in Washington for nearly 2 straight weeks trying to get to a deal, including multiple hours of talks with Greer on Friday. They have worked hard in good faith to defend the interests of Canadians throughout these negotiations up until the very last minute, said Carney. However, last-minute changes in the U.S. proposed terms were unfair, uneconomic, and called into question the reliability of any deal. And Carney had an open letter to the people of Canada about all of this. The new U.S. tariffs target $28 billion in Canadian goods, ranging from hockey sticks and honey to essential oils and dairy products. Details of what goods Canada will tariff in response are not yet available. Carney also said the government will introduce measures to support Canadian workers and businesses in the coming days. U.S. Trade Representative Jameson Greer said Friday that the U.S. and Canada had declined to finalize a tentative agreement and laid the blame entirely on Canada. Despite the U.S. offer to Canada to receive the best treatment of any major exporter to our market, new demands and walkbacks of our commitments by Canada have upended the careful balance reached in the past days, said Greer. In addition, Canada has continued to maintain its prolonged retaliation against the United States, including, among other things, flat-out prohibitions on certain American goods and services. Substitute in here the word booze. Greer told reporters that the failed deal represented a missed opportunity, noting that the U.S. was offering significant tariff reductions on steel, aluminum, autos, and lumber in exchange for concessions from Canada. He said the deal also included an economic and national security partnership, as well as the announcement of formal U.S. Mexico-Canada agreement negotiations. The Trump administration did not extend CUSMA in July. That triggered an annual rolling review of trade deal for up to a decade, at which point it would expire if all 3 countries cannot come to an agreement for an extension. Mexico and the United States have launched official CUSMA negotiations, but Ottawa and Washington have not started such talks. Earlier Friday, Trump said a deal with Canada was moving along, though LeBlanc told reporters there was still more work to do to seal a trade deal. Some of Canada's premiers have already banded together with Carney following the announcement. After days of silence, Ontario Premier Doug Ford said on social media late Friday that the Prime Minister has his full support for a strong response. As we fight to protect Canadian sovereignty and economic security, everything needs to be on the table, said Ford. Ontario is ready to do its part. British Columbia Premier David Eby said on social media that our politeness should never be mistaken for weakness. We'll always defend ourselves, he said. We didn't ask for this, but we'll keep fighting for as long as it takes. Former Alberta Premier Jason Kenney also applauded the move, saying on social media that Canada clearly made a serious, good faith effort to get greater stability and market access and remains ready to find a fair, balanced agreement. But we are not cravingly surrendering in the face of constant economic and political aggression, said Kenney. Responding to the new U.S. tariffs with counter tariffs is exactly the right thing to do at this time. Susan Holt of New Brunswick said in a statement that her province stands strong and united with Team Canada as we fight a fair deal. Now more than ever, we need to double down on buying local and supporting New Brunswick businesses and workers. Prince Edward Island Premier Robert Lance also vowed on social media to continue working alongside the other premiers and the federal government to stand up for Canadian interests and make sure Prince Edward Island has a strong voice in the path forward. He added that Team Canada approach has kept the country strong and united throughout the negotiations, and Canadians need the same strength and unity now. Alberta Premier Danielle Smith, on the other hand, said on social media she is deeply disappointed that Canada and the United States has not been able to reach a trade agreement. No one benefits from a trade war, she said. Smith also said she welcomed the federal government's intention to provide relief for those businesses that are impacted. Alberta will continue to advocate for a strong, tariff-free relationship between Canada and the U.S. and will be urging the federal government to restart negotiations as soon as possible, she said. And then it goes on with all the other ones. So that gives you basically what has been happening here and why we agree with Carney. There we go. On this part. So we need to unpack some things here. Because first of all, any Americans that are on here, you are not going to get the full story, and you never will, from your media. Or from your government. They're not going to tell you what's happening. Oops, go this way. At all. Our media is actually reporting things pretty much as it is. Now, they do spin things in a little way, but more towards us as Canadians, as consumers. Because, you know, if it bleeds, it leads kind of a thing. But here is our take on all of this. And our take is based on quite a bit of research at looking at multiple sources of this information and listening to what the average Canadians that have been interviewed on the street say and what our premiers say and all of that kind of thing. So Trump, basically, first of all, we were never going to have a deal with Trump. He had no intention whatsoever of negotiating in good faith with us. He gave his orders to his, what do you want to call them? Ass kissers, there to do this. He was never going to make a deal. The only way Trump would have made a deal is if we had turned around and given him everything he wanted. And what he wants is us, our sovereignty as a free country. He wants us to be part of the United States. Now, he realizes that to come in and conquer us with the military is not being reasonable, because that's going to upset the world on so many levels, not just Canadians, and probably would upset, quite honestly, an awful lot of the population of the United States, probably the majority of the population of the United States, who are not happy about any of this either. So, and any deal that Trump would put together would be written in pencil, meaning he never sticks to it. Look what he's done with Kuzma. Kuzma is non-existent, and it's never going to be in existence again with this.
Yeah, because some of the tariffs that he put on for steel and aluminum should have been part of Kuzma trade, and he's ignored Kuzma. So
Yeah. So it wouldn't matter. But we tried. Our government tried. Why did our government try? When they knew what the outcome was going to be. And they knew that this was not going to work. But they did it for us. For the people of Canada. Which is right. They should do that because we elect them to look after our best interests as a nation, as a culture, as an economic power in the world, because we are an economic power in the world as well. And so, yeah, but they knew they couldn't come up and say, look, we're not going to negotiate. We're going to just throw back tariffs and everything. We're just going to continue this trade war that Trump has put us in by no fault of ours. We never started this at all. So that's another thing to keep in mind. Okay. He is a bully. The worst bully. So they went through everything. And they went in with the best intentions. They knew it was going to be difficult, but they were going to give it a try anyways. And they did. They gave it their best effort. Now, are we going to know what was said in those meetings? No, we're never going to know. Because governments anywhere in the world never give you that information. But we know what the outcome was. And the outcome is Carney and the federal government are pissed. And so are we, Canadians. We are pissed. You're trying to step all over us. You're trying to take away our country from us. Not gonna happen. So Carney is retaliating with, it's going to be dollar to dollar, tariff to tariff. And that's going to start on Tuesday after Labor Day. Now, here's something that's key. Carney is and his people are shrewd planners. Trump immediately says, they're going to happen tomorrow. We're going to do this now. Oh, yes, he gave us a little bit of a leeway, gave us 3 days after his, original
deadline.
But he's Taco Tuesday guy, right? We know that. He's done this before. Carney is actually giving Trump some time to stew over this. Trump is not happy because it didn't go his way. And when that orange pumpkin doesn't get his way, we've seen many examples of this over the last few years in this administration, since he came back into power again. We've seen many, many examples of this. He pouts and he gets mad and then he starts saying really stupid things. And, think about all the tariffs when he first got out his big chart about all the countries in the world. He was tariffing here and tariffing there. And his excuses were, well, they haven't been nice to us. They've treated us unfairly. How? That's one thing. You never hear people ask him this question. So in your estimation, what's unfair? What has happened? Why is it unfair? Oh, they've been nasty. They've been mean to us and all that. This is not a sane man here thinking this through. Thank God we have a very sane man as our prime minister. Not only is he sane, but he comes from an economic background, not a political background. He ran the Bank of England. He ran the Bank of Canada. This man knows what he's talking about when it comes to economics. And this is the lens that he is looking through. And he is a true Canadian as well. He is proud of this country. And he wants to preserve our culture. But of course, their last minute ones, they came in, they want control of our trade deals with the world. Well, if we were ever to be so stupid as to give him total control of what we do as far as trade, in other words, we need his permission to do things, well, we're not Canada anymore. We're the 51st state. Because that essentially is fundamental to a country's existence. So that's what he wanted. So instead of going in with your military and trying to take us over that way, you try to take us over financially. Then he wants to take over our culture. Our culture is made up of two principal bodies. We have many, many other bodies, but two principal ones. Since Confederation, we have the English and we have the French. And in this country, we have two official languages, English and French. So when you come to Canada and you read the side of your cereal box or your milk container, you are going to see French as well as English. Trump doesn't want that. He said, no. Oh, no. You never question the province of Quebec's culture, because that is their culture. They are very, very protective of their culture. And in Canada, we have had laws, legislation, where we have protected that. We have not taken that away from them. Now, yeah, we have our internal conflicts between English-speaking provinces and Quebec, more so as you move further out west with that. But nevertheless, it's still part of our culture. It's all tied together. We learn French in school up to, well, it used to be up to grade 11. Now it's only up to grade 9. But we have it there. So, you know, it's a way of life for us. He wants to take that away. No. In fact, the French premier, the premier of Quebec, she turned around and said, we will not be discussing the separatist question in Quebec. And this has been going on for years. There's always, every so many years, separatism raises its ugly head in Quebec, and they sort of threaten to leave our country. And for this or that or whatever reason, we're used to it. In fact, it's ingrained in our society that this is going to happen, but they're not going to leave. But she turned around and said, as long as Trump is in power in the United States, we will not be bringing to the table anything about separation. I admire that lady, that premier, to say that, because what she's saying is, yes, Quebec has a unique identity in an English-speaking, primarily English-speaking country. And there are special concessions that have been built into the law of this country to protect certain things that are culturally important to Quebecois. And that's fine. But she's saying, no, we are Canadian first. We are Quebecois second. Canada as a nation, their needs, their wants, their culture are our culture, our wants, our needs too. We are on Team Canada. Wish we could say the same for the Premier of Alberta, Danielle Smith. She's hemming and hawing. Well, she was very disappointed that the talks broke down. Oh, get over it, baby. And she's got a separatist thing happening in their province, which is ludicrous, and we've talked about it before, and I'm not even going to pay it any more attention. Just to say that she is the only premier across Canada who is not totally Team Canada. The other premiers, Eby in BC, he has said, right on, Carney, you've done the right thing. Our premier in Ontario, he didn't come out and say much at first, but when the crunch came, he came out and says, no, 100% backing that. Now, you have to remember, our federal government is liberal. Our provincial government is the opposition party at the federal level, which is conservative. This is where you're seeing the two major parties in this country are coming together. It's not a bipartisan thing. It is one government. The federal government has the support of the official opposition. They also have the support of the parties that don't have as much power, like the Bloc, which is a party that only exists in Quebec, and the NDP, which basically has almost non-existent seats, and the Green Party. But they've all come together. And the premiers have too. The premier of Manitoba, when they were part of the negotiations is this whole thing with the liquor. We haven't had American liquor on our shelves. We took it off, except for 2 provinces. Guess which one of those provinces was? Alberta. The other one was, I believe, Saskatchewan. Now, they do their alcohol differently than we do in Ontario and some of the other provinces. They privatized, at least in Alberta. I'm not sure about Saskatchewan, how that works.
Saskatchewan did the same thing.
So basically, they are not government controlled. Ours in Ontario and in BC and other provinces and Quebec are controlled by the provincial governments. They have the control. The federal government doesn't control that. But Carney did go to the premiers and say, look, if we're trying to get a deal here, would you be willing to put American spirits back on the shelves? Now, what the premier of Manitoba said is, we can put it on, but Canadians don't have to buy it. And so what he was really sending out the message was, just because it's on the shelf, don't buy it. Boycott it. Which, when they started doing surveys about that, how Canadians felt about it, over 75% or higher said, yeah, they're not going to touch. If it's on the shelves, they're not going to buy it. Except for that one old biddy out west who went, but I love red California wines. And I can't wait till they're back on the shelf. You should die. Or you should move to California, honey. Yeah, go for it. We have lots of good wine in Canada. And also we have wines from around the world, not just from the United States.
Well, that's where you get crotchety old people.
Yeah, really. She's probably a bloody snowbird, too, and probably travels down there every 6 months no matter what. But anyways, so, the premiers, with the exception of Danielle Smith, and she's not saying right out that she's, against this, but she's made it, she's disappointed. Well, honey, here's the solution.
Well, we're disappointed that you're the premier.
Yeah, right. And you can just take your dolls and go home and cry, okay? That makes you happier. So I feel sorry for the people of Alberta that have her as their premier, because I know that the majority of Albertans do not agree with her on anything, especially on the separatist issue at all. But, those that are the minority are usually the loudest to squawk, and that's what the news media picks up on. So of course, the alcohol is off the table. Now, I saw some things about that and going, this whole issue around alcohol, it's actually kind of a minor thing that got blown up out of proportion. But the reason it's important is because it is the one thing that visibly we as consumers, as Canadian consumers, can feel good about not buying.
Yeah, well, I think the whole thing is that it's not just the average consumer saying, no, I'm not buying it. What they've done is the provincial governments, especially the one in Ontario, has taken it off the shelf. They don't sell it.
It's not there.
Right?
Out of sight, out of mind.
What happens is that because the liquor is controlled by Ontario, that means no businesses in Ontario can sell it either, including restaurants.
Yeah.
So everything is disappeared.
Yeah. And you want to know something? We're not crying over that. But it's a physical manifestation of how we feel about boycotting. People don't see people in the grocery store looking at all the produce and trying to figure out what's from the U.S. or not. We are, and we need to continue doing that. But some of the grocery stores have gotten kind of tricky with this. The Real Canadian Superstore, which is part of the Loblaws brand, which is a huge, one of the biggest grocery store chains across Canada. And it is owned and operated by one of the richest families in Canada, the Westons, and they are creeps. They are. They are very much. There's so many things wrong with that family. But I just saw an investigative report showing that they are hiding the information as to where their fruits and vegetables and their produce comes from. You have to look, if you can even find it, on the tags, because it's in very, very small print, and you got to hunt. They're not making it obvious. Why? Because the almighty dollar is the bottom line for them. Well, guess what? we're not shopping at the real Canadian Superstore anymore, because that's not a Canadian attitude. That's an American attitude. Yeah, so no. And this is what we have to do. We have to watch. But you see, that isn't as visible as alcohol, because the alcohol is right there, right in front of you, on the shelves. And it was pretty obvious when they removed the alcohol from our LCBOs, our Liquor Control Board stores here in Ontario. There was a gap.
There was a huge aisle with
missing products. And what our Liquor Control Board has also been doing for quite a while, this is making sure that everything, if it's a Canadian product, there's a big maple leaf right there to know that it is a Canadian product. Now, we have other booze to choose from around the world. It's not they don't just sell Canadian booze, but they don't sell American. And so you go ahead and you put it back on the shelves, and you go ahead and put it on the shelves in the grocery store. Of course, that's all controlled by the LCBO too. It's not by the private. And you put it back on the shelves of Costco, an American company. Yes, I know there's irony there. And I said to Walter, well, when we're down and we're buying our Canadian wine at Costco, and I see if there's American wine on the shelf now, and somebody, well, there's not going to be now, but, you know, before this all really ended, before Carney called everybody back home, I'll just say to people, I walk by, I'll make it, oh, my God, they've got American stuff on the shelves. Well, I'm certainly not going to be buying that because I'm a Canadian. Shame them. Shame them. And people need to be shamed. That's one of the strategies. Shame them. At the party we were at, one of these nimrods that's there that is somebody we know, we don't call this person really a friend. He's telling us on Tuesday he was going down to New Hampshire. He's going to some kind of resort or something like that. And I looked at him and said, you're going to the States? Yeah, he didn't get it. In fact, he's wearing a t-shirt that says Palm Springs on it. Yeah. And nobody was really talking much to him, except us. And we were trying to get rid of him out of the way. But, you know, like, what a stupid move. Like, there you go. We have our stupid people here too, okay? Sad to say, but there are some. And he's definitely challenged on many levels. So, yeah, that kind of thing. So, yeah, we've had it. Trump has poked the bear. And we know bears, okay, in Canada. So, what are we going to do about all of this? First of all, as average, well, first of all, our premiers have come together, with the exception of Danielle Smith. And they're saying, yeah, we support you, Carney, 100%. I sent a letter to my prime minister saying, we support you as Canadians. We thank you for what you're doing. It can't be easy, but, you know, and praised him for what he did. And more Canadians need to reach out and send letters to the Prime Minister's office to let him know that we are behind him 100% and his party, and to the premiers of the provinces as well, to let them know, regardless that you may be like, Ford is a conservative, I'm a liberal, but I do, and he's done a lot of stupid stuff. Doesn't mean I'll vote for him in the next election, but right now he is showing a strong front. And that was another thing about the negotiating teams. Apparently, reports have it that the negotiating team on the American side were very disoriented, didn't really know what the outcomes were supposed to be. Things were changing all the time. They weren't coordinated in their efforts. I mean, at the last minute, Letnig's back in the mix. He wasn't there before.
Yeah, because he wasn't happy with what was being negotiated, so he decided to change it.
I mean, well, he was sent in by Trump, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah.
With that, because he doesn't have a brain of his own to think of these things. Whereas our team came in and knew exactly what the goal was, knew how they were going to, what they were going to say, what they were going to do.
Negotiating team throughout the whole process. So.
No surprises. Our negotiating team had a hell of a job. And they did their best. They went above and beyond the call of duty. And we as Canadians should be thankful for them as well. So what do we need to do? Let's do what we've been doing and do it even more so. It's going to take you a little time, but do it. Look at what you are buying. Look at where it's made and where it's being sourced from. Read the labels. And if something isn't clear in a grocery store or where you're buying it, you go up to management and go, excuse me, can you tell me where this kumquat's coming from? Okay? Where is it written here? I don't see any markings on your shelves about these things. Shouldn't this be marked? Because I don't want something that's coming from the USA. I heard from one YouTube creator that is on here, Klaus Kellerman, you've heard me talk about before. He says, if I have to eat parsnips throughout the winter because they're Canadian and I can only get American carrots, I'll eat parsnips. All right? Yeah. And he said, besides, he likes parsnips. I do too.
I haven't had them in a long time.
Yeah. Yeah, no, parsnips. But the point he is making is we buy Canadian. We support our country as much as we can. Can we do it an absolute 100%? No. No, because our two economies are intertwined with each other. And it's impossible. But we do what we can do and make a conscious effort. Are we traveling to the United States? Hell no. If you have relatives down there and they're able to travel, you bring them up here to visit you. You know? If you're a snowbird, yeah, winters are cold. You were born Canadian. Snow is not a new phenomenon. Don't go.
Or go to Mexico.
Or go to Mexico. Yeah, you want warm? Go to Mexico. I hear Greece is lovely too for it. So, like, whatever. You know, you don't have to go to the States. And those old people that are set in their ways about that, I want you to think about the legacy that you could be leaving your grandchildren, if that's important to you. And it should be important to you. Because this whole thing that's happening here now is not going away next week, next year, next month, whatever. It's generational. It is generational. We are never going to be, and I've said this before, we are never going to be on the same footing that we once enjoyed with the United States. We called the United States friends. Our closest neighbor and our best friend. That is no longer true and is not going to ever come back to that again. Stay tuned for the 21st century because it's Canada's century. The world is watching us right now. They're watching to see how we're going to handle the Americans. And hopefully we do, not hopefully, we will handle the Americans. And Trump and all of his shit. Which he carries around with him in a diaper, apparently. We will not be undermined. We will not be taken over. We are finished with the insults. We are not nice people who say sorry all the time. We say sorry to be polite, but now we've gone way beyond politeness. So, my fellow Canadians, keep this in mind. We're going to fight, and it's a good fight. And we are on the side of right. Because to be on the other side means you support bullies, to say the least. Don't poke the bear. Well, too late now. You just did. Okay, let's take a look and see what people are saying here. Lucy says, can I stay as a Brit, please? Yes, you can. But the British need to get their head out of their ass, too, because they've had their head in their ass with, what's his name? Strammer, whatever the past prime minister was. And finally, they've got somebody else in there, and hopefully he will be good to his word. We will see. But, you know, Brits, you complain about a lot of things. The Second World War was 80 years ago. You don't have Churchill anymore, okay? You can't rest on the laurels of that. That's over, that's gone. It's a new world. So get on the bandwagon and get on with us. Because don't forget, we have common roots. Okay? Kim is here. Hi, Kim. Elizabeth says, bye-bye, Trump. Yeah, we wish. But he's going to be here for 2 more years. We'll see what the midterms happen. But he's going to do something. And the bond market, which I don't completely understand the bond market, but apparently you're in a bad economic situation because in order to get you out of the extreme economic hole you're in, your powers that be are just switching paying off the credit card with another credit card, robbing Peter to pay Paul.
Yeah,
and
like the bond interest is high.
You can explain it better than I can.
Or I think the treasury bills are high. When your interest rate increases, it means your debt goes up faster. And what happens is like bonds are purchased by other countries as a loan, basically, to
a loan to the Americans.
To the Americans, right? And if your credit rating becomes poor, then the interest rates have to go up to attract the investors. And I think I read somewhere that China just unloaded a whole bunch of debt that has and China owns a lot of these bonds. So and when these countries sell their bonds, your interest rates start going up. So your debt that's in the trillions of dollars, I think you just went over $40 trillion. When your debt is all held in these bonds, right? So the higher the interest rate is, the more you have to pay out.
And that trickles down to the average person. If you have a mortgage, if you have a car loan, if you've got credit cards that have balances on them and everything like that, all of that makes that even harder to
Trump
get out from under.
Focuses on the how well the stock market is doing. But it's actually the bonds that you need to watch, the bonds and the treasury bills.
I heard one reporter say that the stock market is reactive. The bond market is, now I forget the term he used, but was more like what I got out of it was the stock market
goes up
and down on a whim.
Yeah.
On a whim. Someone farts the wrong way, that goes down or it goes up or whatever. Trump opens his mouth, it goes up or it goes down or whatever. The bond market doesn't work that way. It's much more
and
stable.
If the bond yields go up, that means that your interest rates will go up too.
Yeah. And if you're living from paycheck to paycheck, or you're already, you have a mortgage and you're just at the edge of it, like you just can afford it and that's it. And if that interest rate goes up, you could lose your house get foreclosed because you can't afford it anymore. You just physically can't afford it. You don't have the cash for it all. So yeah, this is not good for the American people. Yes, there are going to be some things that aren't good for us too in Canada, but not nearly the impact that's going to have on Americans. But Americans as people do not react until it hits them personally. They really don't look at the wider picture of it all.
In fact, I think Canadians and people that are around the world tend to follow the finances and politics more than individuals
than Americans do. And let's face it, you don't get told a whole lot. Your media is very, I don't know, I want to say the word corrupt, in the fact that there's influences on your media that do not allow you to hear the whole story. I mean, that's the same way. All media is like that. It, if it bleeds, it leads, and it spins, but more so in the United States than here in Canada with it too. So yeah, but just have to watch all the different sources of information and come up to your own conclusions about it. Okay, so Kim says, so proud of Canada. Yes. And busy too, as well. Shelley's 5. With any luck, Trump will be impeached and removed. We need the blue wave. That's really wishful thinking. I mean, I agree with you. That'd be great if he was, but he won't. They've tried to impeach him. back
in previous.
and it went to. They've taken him to court. He's been charged with felon, and that, doesn't make any difference. It doesn't matter. So,
And not only that, if they remove Trump, there's all his administration still behind him, like what's the name?
J.D. Vance.
J.D. Vance
and Stephen Smith?
Smith? No,
that's not his name.
I can't remember.
I can't remember his name. Like the ones in behind the scenes, that they're the real dangers in there. So they still exist. You have to take them all out in one swipe with that. Sort of like that television series, Designated Survivor, kind of a deal. So yeah, it would be nice that he'd be just gone. But even with and there's all this weight being put on the midterms, and I hear this all the time on American podcasts that I listen to, and they're going on, well, the midterms, they're going to get them because the Democrats are going to. Well, I hope the Democrats do. But that doesn't get rid of a president. It may lessen his powers if he listened. Stephen Miller, that's it. If he listened to Congress. But he doesn't seem to do anything. He does stuff that's illegal, that's supposed to be like the Iran war. To declare war on a country, you need to have Congress do it. Congress never got a vote. Congress didn't sanction it. Didn't say we're going to do it. Trump did it. So that's what you're dealing with here. Someone who considers himself above the law. And he gets away with it. I don't know. Maybe you need to put a rope around his neck and drag him out to a public, area and stone him. I don't know. I don't know how that's going to work. I think that's the only way you're going to get rid of him. Busy says, ooh, that's an awful story. Thought it was just an expression.
Poke the bear.
Oh, poke the bear. Yeah. Nope. It became an expression. There are loads of interesting stories behind well-used expressions. Yes, Lucy, there is. Yes, I guess I won't look into them after that one. Okay. Elizabeth says, sorry about the bear. Stephen, I had a two-legged visitor said, Graham, what's this poke he did? I didn't mean to offend you in any way, but little fingers have a way of wandering over the keyboard.
Oh.
Okay. We didn't notice it, but okay, Elizabeth. Ruth says, I really like the way Carney handles Trump. Yep. I'm telling you, he's the only politician as a prime minister out of the ones we could have chosen in the last election. He was the best choice. He knows what he's doing. Walter, I was too...
Until I saw
Howard Lutnick came into the picture, and then I figured that it was definitely a no deal concerning the Gordie Howe Bridge. Oh, yeah. I mean, that's just Gordie Howe Bridge. It'll work itself out, that one. That's just an irritant at the moment, more so than something to get our knickers too much in a knot over. Lucy says, they're not all violent and about animal cruelty. Yeah, Lucy, you're true. Trump wants to control us. That is plain and simple. Oh, yeah. Yeah. You'd have to be under a rock not to see that. Busy says, thought Greer was respectable until Friday. He's just another liar. Yeah, well...
He has to toe the party line.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. Busy says, we are part of NATO. Yeah, well, that doesn't matter to Trump. Yeah, the U.S. tariffs are illegal. Yeah, we know this, but, for something to be illegal, the person doing it must recognize the law and respect the law and realize that. He knows it's illegal, but he doesn't respect the law. As I said, he's above the law. So what do you do with him? Dana's here. Hi, Dana. Denise says, imagine being snatched up off the street and shipped to a country you know nothing about. Yeah, really. That's another thing. That's fascism. Okay? That's not democracy. That's fascism. I mean, Americans need to, past Americans that are long gone now are probably turning over in their grave about this, because that's not what the American Constitution was supposed to be all about. Oh, that's another discussion for another day. Yeah, Barb, there is something wrong with Danielle. Well, she wants power. She wants to keep power. I mean, it's good pension when you leave. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Ruth says, Trump has divided the U.S. and united Canada. Yes, Ruth. if there is a silver lining to all of this crap that's going on, I don't think Canada, we as a people in Canada, have been so united. We have a common enemy now, and that brings people together. Unfortunately, I mean, not that we were separated. We are not broken. We were never broken. We have our differences. We're a vast country. Our provinces are very different from each other. We live amongst all of that with respect and recognize that there are differences, and our government recognizes the differences between the provinces, and they try to take that into consideration when making federal laws and things like that with it all. But yeah, this has brought us really close together. And that's got to be a pain in the ass for Trump, because he was hoping that we'd have infighting, that we'd be going after each other's jugglers, because, you know, what's the expression? Divide it, we fall, or something. Unite it, we stand. Divide it, we fall, or something. But if the reverse of that is, you know, divide us to conquer us. Teresa says, reference the wine comment. Love it. I just be ready to love it. Just be ready to duck. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, won't be my first time in a Costco getting into a heated discussion.
Yes, I know.
Yeah.
We've had that before.
Yeah, we've had that before. Yeah, they died. Let's see here.
Cheryl
says, so glad Canada didn't cave to Trump. Cheryl says, was at a quilt show this past week. Spent most of my money at the wonderful booth and thanked them for being there.
Is Wonderful Canadian?
Is Wonderful. Oh, Wonderful. Money. Yeah, Wonderful they're distributed in out west. I think in Alberta, actually. Barb says she saw something on U.S. News the other day that shows how despicable Trump is. A U.S. soldier saved others while Pearl Harbor was bombed, so a ship being built will be named after him. Trump wants it. Yeah, he wants his name on everything. I mean, give the man a label maker and he'd be sticking ones all over everything. This is mine, this is mine, this is mine. Karen says, I find the whole situation so sad. I don't blame Canadians one bit. Wish I was one, but too late now. Yeah, you know, Karen, we find it sad too. We do, and I've said this many times before, the average American person who is not a MAGA, they don't want this, and we understand that. However, it is your leadership, or lack of leadership, that's threatening us. So, you know, you guys did put them in. Yeah, I know. You'll say, I didn't vote for them. Well, that's fine, but enough did. Or it got
manipulated.
I think it got manipulated. I think it did. And Ruth says, I just don't understand why the Democrats aren't screaming. They have so much material to work with. This week, the national debt shot to 40 trillion, doubled under Trump. Yeah, the Democrats, well, you know something. One of the reasons why Trump was able to get in is because the Democrats did not do a very good job in the last election. And Biden, I'm sorry, but Biden was not the right man to run for a second term. No. And it was too late before he pulled out of the race. They put in Kamala, and she probably wasn't the right person either. Smart lady, but, you know, Americans weren't ready to put a colored woman in power. You know, sad to say, but yeah. And the Democrats really, I don't know what they were thinking. So they're partially to blame for the situation we're in today as well. Stephen Miller, The Grim Reaper, Most Dangerous Evil Man in the Administration. Yes, and I'm reading a book right now called Regime Change, which is by a couple of American reporters who have been in the inner circles of, you know, the government and reporting on it and everything. And yeah, they talk about him. He's nasty. Yep. Let's see here. Glenda says, I honestly do not think our midterm vote will count. I hate to say it too, but I have a feeling there's going to be some manipulation there, to say the least. Trump's going to do something. He's already talking about having ICE agents at polling places and things like that, which is intimidating for people who are, basically not white middle-class Americans on that. And so that's a scare tactic that he's using, and it may have an effect. What I would tell Americans to do, no matter what, get out there and vote. And, if you've got people who won't vote because they're afraid that they're going to be pounced upon by ICE or whatever, protect them. Go as a large group, surround them so that ICE can't get at them. Go in there. I mean, I can't imagine our country ever being in a situation like that. It's unfathomable for us to think that. And I'm sure for most Americans it was unfathomable as well. But it happened. That's what you get with a fascist dickhead. Yeah, Barb says that Wonderfill is manufactured in Calgary.
I was not aware of that.
Yeah, I knew they were out in Calgary.
Yeah.
I just wasn't sure if they were manufactured there or not, but she says they are. So, Elizabeth says she's another Trump. Danielle, yeah, she has Trump tendencies. Denise says, how is Canada's military? Fine. I mean, our military is our military.
Yeah, they bought new submarines and stuff like that.
And we're also not warmongers. That's not our nature. We're peacekeepers. And I guess what we're investing a lot in new equipment and stuff like that, because, another thing that Trump threatens is our northern parts of our province, which is where a lot of our minerals that he wants are located there. And with, climate change, things are melting. They're becoming a little more accessible to a point. I don't know. I think it's time to send the bears in, the polar bears, eat them. Oh, American, get them, sick them, eat them, yum. It'll leave a bad taste in their poor little mouths, but there you go. Artist says, have you noticed that they no longer talk about the Epstein files? Oh, of course, because, now they have other things that they divert. They do this all the time. They change everything to take the pressure off. But, quite frankly, the damage that the Epstein files could do has already been done. We all know that Trump was a good friend of Jeffrey Epstein. We all know what Jeffrey Epstein was all about. And by association, Trump is guilty. What more can they do to Trump? Take him to court. They've done that. And we know how that worked out. So the Epstein files are dead. That is old news now. Karen says, not my president. Nope, it's not, but it may not be your president, but it's your country's president. So, you're part of the country, you're part of the problem. And Denise says, ICE is wearing electrified gloves now. Oh, are they? I haven't heard that. I haven't seen any reports of that. So I would question your source. But then again, it wouldn't surprise me, because who knows? Who knows? And the people that they have in ICE, those are creeps. Those are thugs. They're thugs. They're hired thugs. No two ways about that. Well, anyways, we've gone a long time today on all of this, but it needed to be said. We are proud Canadians, and we will remain as such. We support our government. We support our premiers. We support our people. And we support our industries and our manufacturing and our economic welfare and our culture. And nothing is going to change that. You poked the bear. Okay, everybody. Have a nice weekend, and who knows what next week will bring. A whole new...
Yeah, if nothing happens in politics, we won't talk about it. But...
Yeah, but if it does, we will. We will. We try to balance the good with the ugly. I don't think we do that well, but we try. Okay, everybody, have a good night, and tune into our videos next week. And don't forget, Sewing with Stephen on Wednesdays, and next Saturday is a pop-up sew day. So all the links for those things will be in the show notes, and those of you on the mailing list will get your own personal invitation to pop-up sew day. Yeah. Okay, have a good one. Yeah. Thanks for joining us. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.